Mike Trout's career is the ultimate paradox, a generational talent shackled to a team that can't win. He's rewritten the history books with MVP awards and jaw-dropping highlights. But when it comes to championships, the record is stark. In over a decade, Trout has reached the postseason just once, swept in the 2014 American League Divisional Series, 3 games and out. The greatest player of his generation, yet almost invisible when October baseball arrives. What happens when the best player in baseball never gets a real chance to win it all? Stick around as we unpack how this happened, starting with the unlikely rise of a teenage phenom. The rise of a generational talent. For Mike Trout, the journey to baseball stardom began under the radar. Drafted 25th overall by the Angels in 2009, he wasn't the headline prospect in his class. But within 2 years, Trout's performance in the minor leagues turned heads. He combined speed, power, and baseball instincts in a way that made him stand out. By 19, Trout was already making his major league debut in July of 2011, one of the youngest position players in the league. His first taste of the majors wasn't seamless. He hit .220 in 40 games, flashing power with a home run and making highlight defensive plays before returning to Triple-A. For many, a demotion at that age might have raised doubts. But Trout's response was to dominate in the minors, leaving little question about his readiness. Trout's brief return to the big leagues at the end of 2011 hinted at what was to come, but it was 2012 when he truly arrived. After starting the season in Triple-A due to a crowded Angels outfield and a bout with the flu, Trout was recalled in late April. From that point on, he was a force. His impact was immediate. Trout's speed on the bases and range in center field transformed the Angels lineup and defense. By midseason, he was leading the American League in runs scored and stolen bases, maintaining an OPS above .900 after June. He produced multiple 4-hit games and seemed to change the game every time he stepped on the field. Trout's rookie season numbers quickly separated him from the pack. He finished 2012 with 30 home runs, 49 stolen bases, and 129 runs scored, all while playing elite defense in center field. His 10.5 WAR wasn't just about the best among rookies. It led all of baseball, outpacing established stars like Miguel Cabrera and Robinson Cano. Trout's all-around dominance was rare, and it changed the conversation about what mattered most in evaluating players. He was the best base runner, one of the top defenders, and the second best hitter in the league. The MVP race that year became a flashpoint. Miguel Cabrera's Triple Crown season earned him the award, but Trout finished second, earning 6 first-place votes and igniting a debate about how value should be measured. Traditional stats favored Cabrera, but advanced metrics and many analysts pointed to Trout's overall contributions as more impactful. The controversy signaled a turning point in how baseball valued players, with Trout at the center of the conversation. By the end of 2012, Trout was no longer just a promising young player. He was the best player on the Angels and arguably in all of baseball. His rookie campaign set a new standard for what was possible, and he became the model for the modern 5-tool player. But as Trout's star rose, the support around him did not. The Angels failed to match his production with a roster capable of turning individual brilliance into team success. The stage was set for a new challenge, one that would test not just Trout's talent, but his ability to shoulder the expectations of an entire franchise. The weight of carrying a franchise. For Mike Trout, the spotlight intensified as the Angels made their intentions clear. In 2014, at 22, he signed a 6-year, $144 million deal that underlined the organization's faith in him and created enormous expectations. Trout was now the face of the franchise, the player who was supposed to turn potential into postseason glory. The 2014 season seemed to deliver on that promise, at least at first. Trout delivered a campaign for the ages, finishing with 36 home runs, leading the league in runs scored, and capturing a unanimous MVP award. The Angels, powered by his production, won 98 games, the best record in baseball. But just as quickly as hope arrived, it vanished. The Angels were swept out of the ALDS by the Kansas City Royals in just 3 games. Trout, under the cruel glare of postseason scrutiny, went 1 for 12. The team's best season in years ended in abrupt silence, with their superstar left to shoulder questions about why individual brilliance wasn't enough. That abrupt exit set the tone for what would become a recurring theme. Trout kept raising his game, but the franchise rarely kept pace. The Angels front office cycled through splashy signings and missed developmental opportunities, searching for the formula to build a contender. Yet, year after year, they failed to surround Trout with the depth and pitching needed for sustained success. The burden on Trout only grew heavier as the organization leaned on him to compensate for roster gaps that no single player could fill. Despite these challenges, Trout's production never wavered. In 2016, he again led the league in key categories like walks and runs scored, posting a league-best 10.5 WAR on his way to another MVP award. But the team finished 74-88, nowhere near playoff contention. Each individual accolade became a reminder of what was missing: a supporting cast capable of matching Trout's level and making his achievements meaningful in October. The reality of carrying a franchise was often invisible, but it was always present. Baseball doesn't allow one player to dominate like in other sports, and Trout's feats often played out in front of half-empty stadiums during losing seasons. The questions grew louder with each passing year. How could the game's best player be so isolated from team success? Was it fair for his prime to be spent chasing wins that never came? Even as the Angels' foundation cracked, Trout's commitment never faltered. He continued to produce at a historic pace, but the cost of carrying a franchise with little support became more apparent. The gap between his personal excellence and the team's mediocrity widened, and the weight of unmet expectations began to take toll that wasn't visible in any box score. As the season passed, the demands of being the franchise cornerstone only increased. The cracks in the Angels roster grew into chasms, and the strain of carrying a team with little hope for change started to show in ways that went beyond statistics. The story of Mike Trout's career was shifting, and soon the toll would become more than just a matter of wins and losses. The slow fade of a wasted prime. The slow fade of Mike Trout's prime began not with a dramatic collapse, but with the steady accumulation of injuries that chipped away at his availability. In 2017, Trout tore a thumb ligament and missed 39 games. Even so, he led the majors in on-base and slugging percentage and still finished 4th in MVP voting, a testament to his ability to excel even when sidelined. Analysts speculated that had he played a full season, a 3rd MVP trophy was likely within reach. That year marked a turning point. Trout's brilliance remained, but the sense of invincibility did not. Trout responded in 2018 with another remarkable season. He missed 3 weeks in August due to a wrist injury, limiting him to 140 games, but still hit 39 home runs, stole 24 bases, and played elite defense in center field. His advanced metrics, career highs in walks, on-base percentage, and OPS, reinforced his standing as the game's best all-around player. Yet, for all the individual dominance, Trout again finished as MVP runner-up, this time to Mookie Betts, while the Angels fell well short of the postseason. The injuries, though brief, hinted at a pattern that would become more pronounced. By 2019, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Trout's numbers were as impressive as ever: 45 home runs in just 134 games, a 3rd MVP award, and continued excellence on both sides of the ball. But foot surgery ended his season early, highlighting how injuries were slowly chipping away at his availability. The flashes of greatness persisted, but full, uninterrupted seasons were becoming rare. The pandemic-shortened 2020 season made it difficult to judge long-term trends, but all the cracks were visible. Trout played 53 of 60 games and remained productive, yet his numbers no longer seemed untouchable. He finished 5th in MVP voting, and for the first time in years, he wasn't the clear favorite. The shortened season offered a reprieve from the grind, but did little to quiet concerns about his durability. In 2021, those concerns became reality. Trout started the season in vintage form, hitting .333 with an OPS over 1.000 throughout mid-May. Then a calf tear on May 17th ended his season, and he would not return to the field that year. The injury was a stark reminder that even the best preparation and talent can't always overcome the limitations of the body. For Trout, it was another lost opportunity during what should have been his peak years. The 2022 season brought more of the same. Trout still produced at an elite level, 40 home runs in 119 games, but subtle declines crept in. His strikeout rate rose, his walk rate dropped, and his overall impact, while still among the league's best, no longer matched the heights of his earlier season. The sense that his time as baseball's most dominant player might be slipping away grew stronger. By 2023, the reality was unavoidable. Trout fractured his hamate bone in early July, managing only one game after the All-Star break. Before the injury, his strikeout rate had climbed to nearly 30%, and his power numbers had dipped to levels not seen since his rookie year. The decline was no longer theoretical. It was reflected in the numbers and his limited time on the field. For the first time, it was clear that age and accumulated wear had caught up to him. Trout's injuries didn't just alter his own trajectory. They changed the shape of what fans expected from a generational player. His prime years, once defined by relentless excellence, became a mosaic of brilliance interrupted by absence. The possibility of a championship run or even a single postseason moment to define his legacy seemed to slip further from reach. The paradox of Trout's career, his greatness set against forces he couldn't control, became impossible to ignore, setting the stage for a final reckoning with what his story means for baseball. Imagine being the MVP of a stagnant franchise, every award a reminder of what never came. Mike Trout's career is defined by brilliance, but his postseason experience amounts to a single, humbling series. His prime, once on track to redefine baseball lore, became fragmented by injuries and an incapable team. The heartbreak is clear. A generational player continually denied the stage that cements legacies. Even if his peak years have passed, Trout will still do special things in the seasons ahead. If you feel Trout deserves more, hit like and let us know in the comments where you'd trade him to chase a title.